Charlie. Mark, 1 Charlie.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm full of optimism.
Einstein's theory of relativity.
We're still seeing it quite well through that haze.
T-minus 37 seconds.
Spike is growing
E
confidence.
equals MC.
That all men are created equal.
About the future innovations.
And growing strength in the air.
Ignition sequence.
Tear down this wall.
Something's happening. Coming up on staging.
This is Finding Your Frequency with your hosts, Jeff Spinard and Ryan Treasure. It's time to speak up, share your voice, and hear from the thought leaders.
Welcome to Finding Your Frequency. My name is Jeff Spinard. I am your host. I am also the CEO and president of World Talk Radio, home to the Voice America Talk Radio and TV networks. Joining me, of course, my co-host, 12-year colleague, 17-year veteran, and vice president of broadcast operations here at Voice America, Mr. Ryan Treasure. Ryan, welcome.
Jeff, thank you. What a great Friday it is, coming back off of a little hiatus from last week, but we had a great show that we got to replay in the time slot while we were out traveling over in Los Angeles and doing the Influencers Unite
Good
event.
old Dana Point by the harbor. It was a beautiful scene. It was a great event.
Yeah, it really was a great event, and we have a lot of video assets that we just transferred over to our editor, and he'll be working on red carpet interviews and as well as some of the broken up interviews from the live broadcast on voiceamerica.tv. Check it out.
Absolutely, and we'll have all that information. We'll have all that content up within the next several days. Last week, of course, we were in Dana Point, but we did a rebroadcast of the show we did the week before, which we had Shemaine Nugent and Gary Miller on the show.
Yeah, that was a really good show. I really especially like talking with Shemaine and you know, kind of talking about the 4 minutes to rock and roll, your way to health, and got a nice challenge with her. And I know she's going to be coming on board as we kick off our health segment here in the next couple of weeks. We're working on getting all the pieces together now.
Exactly. Exactly. Once we have this put together, we are on our way to healthy living, which I am so looking forward to. But yes, I talked to Shemaine yesterday. We're going to bring the show over. And the beautiful part about this is that she wants to get Ted involved. For those of you who don't know Ted Nugent, you have to know Ted Nugent, so I'm not even going to go into that. But, you know, it's going to be a very versatile show where it'll be health, it'll be rock and roll, it'll be hunting, it'll be a very diverse show with much content. So I'm looking forward to that. We talked to Gary Miller. Now, Gary Miller has produced people like Elton John, Journey, Sting. Such a rich history, such a rich rock and roll history.
Yeah, his group found Kylie Minogue.
Yeah,
you know, which is a multiple platinum recording artist who's got a couple of Grammys, and you know, he's
Katy Perry.
I mean, he worked with her. Yeah,
right.
Their group and Gary Miller's folks have just really produced some solid music that have spanned several generations.
Yeah.
You know, your generation, Generation X, and all of that. My generation. Been fantastic music.
About my generation. The Who. So yeah, so we're getting going. We went to the Influencers Unite dinner and mixer last week at Dana Point. It was a spectacular event. It's leading up, and what Voice America is doing is we are creating the Influencers channel. Now, the Influencers channel is going to be content from some of the top 25 influencers around the world. So this is going to be something that Voice America is stepping into that is different than what we've done over the years. So I'm really excited to talk to the audience and share more with people, but that will come as we move along.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited for the Influencers channel too, and I kind of feel like it's also coming at the right time. While there's a shift right now in online media with the term influencers and it being a more widely used term, and my wife and I were talking about this last night, and one of our Facebook friends who's a music producer here locally in the Phoenix area put out a post basically asking his social media group, like, what is this thing called influencers that I've never heard of before? And I felt all special because I was able to get on and explain to him in a social post, what influencers are in the realm of digital media, whether it be social media influencers or people that are doing influential things, leveraging digital content. And it was well received and pretty cool. And I directed him over to our radio show, of course, to find out more about influencers.
And there you go. So if I hope he's tuning in today, and this will be something that will be helpful because we have some influencers that will be a part of the show today.
But Voice America is not new to influencers as a whole. We've been producing and creating content around people who are influential for some time. It just has never been a coined pop culture term like influencers is now.
It really is cool because when we show up at events, Voice America is an influencer as well. So, when you talk about influencers influencing other influencers, it's all about building and growing and sharing the knowledge that's going to help somebody else to help somebody else.
Right. And that's one of the premises behind the model of what Voice America has been doing, for some time, starting out with, back when John Gray was first introducing his digital assets, and we were working with the public company and, really building and growing and working with those influencers at that time, and have really prospered over the years and, launched more channels and working with more hosts, and to be able to take all of those folks that we've been connecting with over the last couple of months and along with the channel and put them all in one place so the audience can really leverage that content for their own good is just a fantastic idea, and kudos.
Exactly.
Kudos, Mr. Jeff.
Kudos to everybody. I mean, you're my right hand. You handle everything come broadcast. But you talk about the rich history of Voice America. I can still remember having a 2-month conversation with the board of directors for Edutopia, which is George Lucas's foundation.
We've come a long way since we had the $99 mixer and microphone taped to the wall, right?
Yes, and read that article in the Easy Way magazine.
Absolutely.
Great article. But working with guys like Pat Summerall, Jack LaLanne, Eddie George, Darryl Green. It goes on and on, the people we've worked with. Now just imagine all of those people under one umbrella.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the Influencers channel all day long. It's fantastic. One thing, I got to slip this in there because we have some cool stuff that's coming up for Voice America in the next month or so, one of which is our live broadcast that we're going to be doing at IAAI out of Las Vegas, which is all about arson investigation. So it's going to be a pretty cool event as we get some of the thought leaders in arson investigation, do some live interviews, wrap that around a radio show that'll broadcast at the same time. So we'll do a nice little simulcast, but really excited. And then again in Vegas later on in April. This is the big one.
This is the big one, absolutely.
I'm spilling the beans again. Spilling the beans with National Association of Broadcasters show that's in April, and we will be broadcasting live from the Advanced Advertising Pavilion there. And we're talking keynote speakers, big folks that are running CBS Interactive and Warner Brothers Media, and really learning about how the big boys in the space are leveraging digital. And one of the things that we learned last year was, we were right on par and on course with some of the things that those guys were doing, and
if not maybe even a little bit ahead. People were looking at us like, oh, okay, you guys know what's going on here. So this is our playground. This is everybody in the industry, in the media industry is there. Whether it's, technology companies, broadcast companies, big network affiliates, they're all there. You're right. Last year, the panels that were put together, spectacular.
They were influencers.
Yes, they were. You're talking about the top podcasters, the top Snapchatters. You're looking at, we had the directors or the producers of The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
HBO.
The production company behind all of it, the writers, the directors, really the creative entourage that came together to bring all of it. And it's crazy. We have more even bigger events too coming up after that. We have the California Women's Conference that's going to happen in May, where we'll be out there broadcasting. And this is a special one because normally when we broadcast, we do interviews and they're one-off on site. This one's going to be even more expansive because we're going to be actually broadcasting all of the keynote speakers from the stage through the broadcast. And then after they get done, they'll be coming to our booth and sitting down for a one-on-one that they get to do with other Voice America Women's hosts live on site. So excited about that.
That's fantastic. And we can bring it all to you. And that's what the special part about this is. Not only will we be there on site live, but if you happen to miss it, you can always get that on demand 24/7 anytime you want. That's what makes it so special. So, hey, kudos.
Absolutely. It's really going to be great. And, while we kind of get towards the end of this, we're rolling up on the commercial break. I know we're a little minute early, but we're going to go to commercial break now so that way we can save a little bit of time on the other side for some interesting conversations with our guests as we're tuning in right here to Finding Your Frequency on the Voice America Variety Channel. Don't forget to go check out the fantastic new Facebook fan page, facebook.com/Finding Your Frequency Net. Also, all the information about the radio show and what we have going on is on findingyourfrequency.com as well as jeffspinard.com. Go check us out on social media, facebook.com/Voice America Talk Radio, at Radio Ryan 1, at Jeff Spinney 2. We'll be right back right after these messages with Finding Your Frequency.
And welcome back to Finding Your Frequency. I'm your host, Jeff Spinard.
I'm your co-host, Ryan Treasure. Welcome back from the commercial break. Appreciate you guys' time. And you're listening to Finding Your Frequency, and we're about to get into our first guest on the show.
You got lost on me there for a second.
Just for a second, yeah. I was trying to read the instant messenger. I got the executive producer sending me messages.
Got all kinds of things just happening here. Okay. Well, we have our guest who is in studio with us now. Clarissa Burt is an award-winning actress, international media personality, producer, director, writer, author, public speaker, and supermodel, with hundreds of television and film credits to her name. This who's who of international and American women brings over 30 years of entertainment industry experience in both international and American markets. You can follow Clarissa on VoiceAmerica.com influencers channel starting May 2nd.
Yes, you can.
Welcome aboard, Clarissa. It's good to have you back.
Had me back, right? You guys remember back in the day when I started?
We have a history.
Was
we
it
go back like 7 years.
6, 7?
6 or
Something
7,
like
yeah.
It was got to be going back. We're in 17 now.
With
10 years.
With Clarissa Burt Talks. And we started then. I had just moved back to the United States at the time from Europe. And we're long lost friends. It's so good to see you guys again.
It was great to see you come back in and now to become a big part of Voice. What I see is a big part of Voice America.
Thank you.
So welcome back. So tell us, what have you been doing all these years?
Laying around on the couch, eating a lot of chocolates.
There you go. I love chocolate too.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Gosh, I've just been doing a lot of traveling as I normally do, and just relaunching the whole brand here in the United States, which has been just a lot of work, but a lot of fun. It's a lifestyle brand that helps women, especially, look good, feel good, be good, and live a greater good. And I'm just building products around all of those different things, and it's been fun. It's been really great. I'm so thrilled.
Excellent. Excellent. You speak about the women's. We talked about the women's, the California Women's Conference coming up, where we'll be broadcasting
I know.
from.
Are you coming?
Yeah, I'm on the board there.
Perfect. Awesome.
I'm on the advisory board with Michelle, so I'll be thrilled to be there.
Awesome. Yeah, we met Michelle at the Wonder Woman
Isn't she
Tech
something?
Conference when we
I
were out
know.
there last
Yeah,
year
she's
for that
cool.
one. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm so happy that you're going to be there for
And
the
I was
event.
supposed to be at Wonder Woman, but I didn't go last year. I was at the one before that in Los Angeles.
Well, that's right. This
The
event
ties, all the ties.
This event is a little bit bigger than the Wonder Woman Tech Conference.
Yeah, it's a little
so-
bit bigger. Yeah, it's
Like maybe
huge.
a lot of bit bigger.
It's pretty big, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of great women, great speakers.
I
It's
think
a
it's the
fabulous
largest.
event to be.
It's the largest women's conference in the United States.
I believe it is. I believe it is.
I'm excited about it. We have 15 Voice America people
Right.
that are going to be at the event.
What?
So it's going to be great. We have all this stuff set
We've
up.
infiltrated.
Yeah,
No kidding.
we got we have an agreement with them now where we're actually going to be exclusive on the broadcast
I
side.
know,
We're
I
going to be
heard.
able to broadcast the keynote on the stage, and then
So exciting.
all those folks are going to come off the stage,
Yeah,
and then
baby.
we'll bring on all of the Voice America women's hosts to do little one-off interviews
And
with those
I'll
folks.
Yes,
You'll
I'll
be there.
be there
You're gonna have to,
with
like,
microphone in hand.
And I'll
Three
be film-
separate panels.
and we'll be filming it all too. We'll
You know,
have
I
the
don't know if you
cameras
guys
out
know
there.
this, but when I was little, you know, you probably, you know, but anyway, when I was little, my parents and grandparents used to tell me that I was vaccinated with a phonograph needle. So
There
just
you
give me a
go.
microphone and I'm good to go.
Off and running, right?
But we'll get along well because I feel the same way. Just give me a microphone,
and
and
I'm
give
good
me
to
a
go.
stage and
Yeah,
we'll rock and
there
roll.
you go.
Good to
There you
go.
go.
You know, Clarissa, you've been a star on pretty much every continent and in so many ways. What keeps you grounded when you're traveling all over the planet doing so many things?
You know, you just have to be really passionate about what you do, and you have to love what you do. I love meeting people all over the place. I love, you know, getting different points of view and keeping in contact with a lot of people. You know, my major market is really the women's market,
Right.
and so women are they're so varied and so diverse, and they have so many amazing stories, and you know, you always hear a lot about women being so awful to one another and bitchy to one another and mean girls and all of that sort of thing. And I'm going to tell you, in my long history, I really don't think I've come across a lot of that. And I think it's because, you know, you can also help diffuse a lot of times some of the attitudes that are coming at you if you just handle stuff right. You know, I mean, people can be having a bad day. You know, women. You guys know women, right? I'm not barking up a tree,
Try to,
right?
anyway.
You know, so you know, sometimes you just have you're good at diffusing and just being yourself all the time and just, you know, staying true to who you are. It just comes because
So
it's a
it's
little
like
easier.
don't sweat the small stuff,
That's
right?
right. Don't
So
sweat the
what
small
is it
stuff.
with the women? Why don't they get along? What's that barrier?
You know, I don't think it's every woman, and you know, as I said before, I don't think it's everybody, but there certainly are, you know, there's a certain amount of women. It's a competition, obviously. It's jealousy for
Territorial.
sure. Yeah, very
Territorial.
Territorial, yes.
And you know, guys are the same way. I mean,
course.
they definitely are. I mean, it's just about, you know, being able to evolve a little bit as a human being, and you know, I like to call what I do, it's women's development through personal envelopment. And when I say
love it.
envelopment, it's really the love of self first and foremost.
Right.
And when you're
Right.
really confident with who you are and what you're doing, what you stand for,
Yeah.
you know, it's like you can't bowl down that bowling pin that just doesn't want to go.
You're
life
ringing
is
true.
life is easy.
Life
at that
is easier,
point.
you know.
Right.
All
You
of
just-
life
you just
should
roll with
there
it.
you go.
Jeff and I did a show back in February that was right after Valentine's Day, and it was like a relationship show. We had Rochelle Kako on, who's a relationship expert for the
Right.
stars in Hollywood,
Right.
and then we had a Dr. London on
Dr.
as well.
London,
So it was
right.
really cool.
Right.
And you echoed exactly what both of them said
Said,
about
yeah.
that love for self,
Yeah.
because you have to have that in
Right.
order to be able to, you know, manage the relationship,
Right.
whether it's a man on man, woman, whatever the relationship
It
is.
is,
You gotta
yeah.
love
Right.
yourself.
I've got a book coming out the end of this year. Hopefully, it'll be in the fall, and we're working on it right now. It's called the Self-Esteem Regime, and it really is just, you know, a regime gets a bad has a bad connotation due to the war, but it really means just nothing more than an organized way of doing things.
Right.
And if you can organize, you know, yourself in different ways and use the tools and resources that I help you with in the book, and we have a lot of also case studies of different women that come to the table and give us their stories and their overcoming, you know, kind of stories, and it's very. I think the book is very inspiring. I really do think it'll help a lot of women of all ages.
Absolutely, that's amazing. And where will the book be available for people to get?
Well, we're talking.
We're
Hopefully,
getting there,
no,
right?
no, wait. I really think I have a literary agent in New York City right now. Is a lovely woman. I'm not going to blow it before. I'd like to share that on my own show, if you don't mind.
Okay,
But,
all right.
There you go. You
But,
gotta save some of the good
yeah,
stuff.
but
right?
it's the self-esteem regime. She was really very taken, I think, with the project, and so I'm very excited. And hopefully, she wants to shop it to the top 5
Nice.
in New York City. So I'm really hopeful that that's going to happen. In the meantime, for all of you celiacs, I've got another book coming out. called the gluten-free, the Italian gluten-free gastronomy. It's coming out in the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Gluten-free Italian. That's
I know.
That's got to be tough, right?
I know. Have you ever heard that before?
Well, one of our executive producers has this whole gluten thing, so she'll tell me about, making gluten-free pasta and some of those things. But I mean, most Italian food is gluten-filled, not gluten-free.
Gluten-filled, and you're absolutely right.
That had to be tough to come up with all of
it.
the.
It almost killed me, and I wound up many times in the emergency room not knowing what was going on. When we found out what it was, I figured I'd help spread the word.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Clarissa, you have such a resume, success all over the place, awards, accolades. What's been your proudest moment?
Gosh, I think the proudest moment was when first of all, as a model, it was, modeling, the modeling career, it was coming home with, a lot of covers, magazine covers. I think, people ask me how many 250. The other thing was having a beauty campaign that went worldwide, and so that was really a major. The other thing as a model is doing the Valentino show, so that was really big.
Yeah. No, I know that was a totally loaded question.
As far as being acting, I was in the acting business for a very short time, but the Never Ending Story Part 2 was a great kid for movies, a movie for kids,
I loved it.
And that was translated into like 17 different languages all over the world, and it's got cult status today. So I've got this guy he's got me painted across his van in Connecticut. His name is Joe Kennedy. Hey, Joe. And shout out to Joe. And so there's, that was a lot of fun. But I think one of the crowning moments were really, I think for me was being called in by the Vatican to be, to have the private audience with the Pope.
Yeah.
I had 2 private audiences with Pope John Paul for my social work, which was very, very, very special. And I was the first American to present at the Kremlin. In other words, Americans weren't allowed really into that space. And
I don't know if Americans are allowed there now either.
I know. But now I'm talking about 1999, right after the wall fell. And so that was kind of cool. Yeah. But with the real crowning moment was when I was still living in Italy and 9/11 happened. And I was sort of the American flag bearer for that country for a while. And it was very touching to see how people rallied around me. And that was a crowning moment because they really made me feel that the work that I had been doing there in their country for so many years they showed me just a lot of love, and that was very special.
Well, all of those things that you're discussing are extremely awesome, and
incredible.
You talked about your magazine covers before the interview. Throughout the week, I had been kind of doing some research and looking online, and if you go look at all of your magazine covers in chronological order, it's actually really cool because you can see this.
You see how much more weight I gained over the years?
No, you see this like the dress design shift from certain time frames and what people were wearing, and then you look back at it and I'm like, people really wore that in the 80s?
Hey, you.
Yeah, right. Slow it down.
That's right. Back off, Jack.
Hey, it was fashion for the time.
That's what I mean. It was fashion for the time.
Good,
It was really cool to kind of see that progression and how stuff changed.
Did you catch the picture where I was blonde for a week?
Did
you catch that picture too? I opened up Disney in Paris for Rai Television and for Italian television, and they sent me over because I got a lot of the gigs because I spoke both of the languages.
Right.
And so I met everybody. I mean, Whitney Houston, you name it. Everybody that came through Italy, I got to meet, which was really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I got to meet Minnie and Mickey at Disneyland in Paris.
Don't say that. My daughter's listening. She's going to be upset.
Yeah, well, it's been a good time, but a great time, and I can't wait to get started here, you guys, because we are going to rock it. We are going to have such a ball. We're going to have so much fun.
We're going to come back in a couple of minutes after we take a commercial break here, and we'll come back with more from Clarissa Burt on Finding Your Frequency. And, of course, go check us out on social media. Go to the fan page, facebook.com/Finding a Frequency Net, of course, at Radio Ryan 1, at Jeff Spinney 2. We're here with Clarissa Burt. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back right after these messages.
And welcome back to Finding Your Frequency. I'm your host, Jeff Spinard.
I'm your co-host, Ryan Treasure, and welcome back. Go check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/Finding a Frequency Net. We're here with our fantastic guest, Clarissa Burt.
Miss Clarissa Burt in the house.
In the house. Representing, baby.
Yes,
representing.
absolutely. I got a question. Okay, what advice would you give to young women that are aspiring as models or actresses or even entrepreneurs in one sentence?
Well, both of those are entrepreneurs in a
Okay,
sense,
there you
right?
go.
So a model and an actress are entrepreneurs. They just happen to be represented if they're lucky by an agent.
True.
And so the advice is be tenacious, be professional, treat it as a job. Be serious about it. If you're serious, and a lot of people are under the illusion that to act and to model, you don't have to study. It just kind of happens, and that does happen for 1 in a billion.
Yeah, that.
The
Doesn't
Cindy
seem
Crawfords.
like it wouldn't be that easy, though.
It's not that easy to get into the business,
Right.
and the competition is fierce, and you never know what they're looking for. That's the other thing. And if you are not into rejection, don't bother.
Right.
Because, how many times I went on a go-see and I was too tall, I was too small, I was too short, I was too thin, I was too heavy, my eyes weren't blue enough. The result, you never know what they're looking for, so they make you feel like it's your fault. When, you just have to understand that that's part of the game.
Right.
And so that's really, don't take it personally, buck up, don't worry about, learn about dealing with rejection first and foremost, be professional. The girls that are going online today to find jobs, you really, really have to be very, very careful about what's going on, the various model mayhems and the model scouts and different, different people. An agent helps you filter also.
Right.
They act for your legalities and they act to filter out the scum of the earth, quite
Right.
frankly.
There
Sorry,
you go.
I didn't have
Now,
another phrase.
You've got worldly experience. How much time do you actually spend in Hollywood? Do you spend much time in Hollywood?
I lived out in Los Angeles for 5 years.
Okay.
And so I just came back here to Phoenix 2 years ago, only because my family's here and I love it here. And quite
Right.
frankly, I just didn't really. I'm a New Yorker. We're East Coasters. I'm an East Coaster.
Right.
It just runs through my veins. I want to be back in New York, and I thank Los Angeles for the 5 years that it accepted
That was
me.
enough,
It
though.
accepted me, but that was enough. It was
Right.
really. I realized that it just wasn't my place and it wasn't my pace. So I'm an East Coaster, and I'd really like to get back to New York ASAP.
Right. Well, there you go.
Hey,
Who's
Voice
been-
America, New York.
There we
How's
go.
that sound?
You know what?
Sounds
That
great.
sounds great.
I know.
And,
Let's do it. Let's talk
we'll
about
have
it.
satellite offices all over the
Let's
world.
do it, darling.
That's definitely in the plan.
Okay.
But we're already global, so
I know you are.
that's the big plus.
I know.
But we're going to build
Well,
out.
let's become universal.
What was we were in space even? So
Yeah, we were.
we went galactic.
Oh no! Wait for me.
Yeah, we got a message from the space station.
Yeah.
No.
On Facebook that was like, hey, I just want you guys to know
What?
that the show that we're listening to on Voice America Variety Channel
Hey.
is awesome. Tell them to ask this question.
I want your autograph.
And I was like, wow.
I do.
See that?
I want
Yeah.
your autographs.
I just thought
Signed pictures.
I don't even remember what show was on at the time that they were
Dang.
listening to, but just the fact that somebody in space was listening to
That
Voice
is really
America,
cool.
Of all of the things that
Yeah.
they could be listening to in space.
Intergalactic, I
it was
like
awesome.
We've gone galactic. Voice America's gone galactic. So, who's been your most inspiring person that you've met in your career? Who inspired you?
Who inspired me, apart from my grandmother, who I just absolutely adored, one of the most lovely ladies on the planet, who's in intergalactic space right now. Gosh, I really did kind of dig the Pope, and he was just great, and
Right.
so that was really cool. I had a fantastic. One of my idols was, believe it or not, is Dionne Warwick. And I just happen to love her and the Burt Bacharach years. I mean, you're too young. You guys are too young to remember all this stuff. But in the '60s, believe me, I'll be
A little
50.
bit.
I'll be 58 next month, guys. I got a whole decade
God
or more
bless
on you.
you.
Yeah.
My God.
Yes, darling. Yes, indeed, darling. I can be your mother, but I can be your grandmother.
Well, right now you look like
no,
my
no.
sister.
Oh, well, there you
so,
go.
My,
So-
my mother's 68.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right then. Anyway, so Dionne Warwick was just lovely.
Yeah.
She's one of those ladies that I just really, really, absolutely adored. I love meeting Ariana Huffington. I found she was she's a fascinating woman who has got her head, really right in the right place. Looking forward to meeting Oprah one day, and and I just really like to think that I always have tongue in cheek, have sort of said Oprah, Martha, Clarissa. So that there you go, right? Because they have their media groups and they have their television, their radio, and their magazines, and that's exactly what I'm working on.
We have a host on one of our channels that does a promotional piece for the Oprah's Super Soul Sundays that she
nice.
has. So we know the producer for that. So I think once we get rolling, we'll
That'd
get
be
in
really
contact
cool.
with them and get that
That'd be
ball,
really,
get that
really cool.
started because we got to make that happen.
We have to make that happen
Absolutely.
because I really just think that these are very, very strong women that have
Oh, yeah.
really changed changed the face of society.
Some of the most influential
and
women in
most
pop culture in the last 50 years. Absolutely.
So I think influencers should be interviewing influencers.
Absolutely.
Don't you think?
Hey, check
Don't
that
you
out.
think?
It's funny, we were just talking about influencers influencing influencers.
So there we go.
I can't bring any new
that
ideas.
actually gets me to my next question of
Yes.
what's next, which is influencers.
I know,
channel.
the influencers channel, which I'm so excited about.
Yeah.
I really am thrilled about
What kind
it.
of thought? What kind of thought you put into it so far?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because, my whole, again, I'm not saying, we love our guys. We absolutely, I love guys. But I really feel as though there's a great place and, as I said before, a great space for me to step in for women and young girls, and in the whole
Absolutely.
arena. There's a lot of stuff going on. Yesterday, I was brought into the board of something called the Teen Mentor. So she's in Philly, this lady. She's, and she said, would you please be one of my influencers? Absolutely. I'm also, I don't know if you know Dina
can do
Patton
that.
here in town with the Girls Rule Foundation. And I could be here forever talking to you about all the different foundations and organizations that I support when it comes to women and young girls. So we're going to be talking about everything that helps you look better, feel better, be better, and live a greater good. And there's a lot, and I think I've come up with a name, but I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm going to get off the air.
You can save that. You don't have to give it all today.
Yeah, these guys are going to have to come to the website and look for the press release, right? So then when we send that out, we'll divulge it at that time rather than now, because we got a little bit of Lincoln logs to place together first before we get too crazy on all the announcements.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I've got about maybe half of the influencers already, in
place.
lockdown.
I know you do, and they're amazing.
Now the search, I've got to vet all over the world. It's. I found a nice pool to swim in for a little while.
Right.
But now it's really reaching out because a lot of people are very interested in what's going on here.
Well, what are you looking for in the influencer? Let's put that out there.
Well, it's very simple. It's influencers influencing influencers. In other words, you have to carry yourself or be somebody that people aspire to be.
Okay.
But on the flip side of that, you have to be doing some good in this world.
Exactly.
I'm not looking for, I don't know if I want to say exactly what I was just going to say, but
it's like you want people that have a large following, but you don't want them to have the type of cult following that doesn't fall into the realm of being positively influencer, right? Because there's a lot of people on social media that have 6, 7, 8 million followers, but the only reason they have that is because they're a mess.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That's what we don't want.
Yeah.
It's all got to be positive influence.
Right. Absolutely. Those are the influenzas.
The influencer is right.
The influenza.
I've met some influenzas.
Yeah,
that's like the take me outside girl, right?
Yeah.
Right. So those are the types of people we don't want.
Exactly.
Take me outside.
So you want some really cool people that are making a difference that people look up to and aspire to.
Correct. I think one of our next things that Jeff and I want to do, that Jeff and I spoke about at the last event, is we kind of did our thing in Los Angeles, right on the West Coast side for the influencers piece. And
I was sorry I couldn't be there.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we need to do is go and make some of those same types of connections on the East Coast in New York City.
Let's do it.
Right, and then
I want to go worldwide, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
East Coast, yes, is next step, but I want to hit. European market. Yeah. There's several places I'd like to go.
Absolutely.
Speaking of, the influencers channel, you're speaking at some nice events around the country.
Absolutely.
Here. What do you got going on there?
Well, the next thing I think I've got coming up is a secret knock, and so with Greg, Greg really
Greg
well.
Reed,
I was grandmothered in, years ago. I think I was really one of the first knockers. Sorry, that's what we call ourselves. Secret knockers. Here we call the girls. We call ourselves the knockers, and so I was one of the first ones to jump on board there, and I've been faithfully following along ever since, and I absolutely adore Greg and what he does and what he stands for, and the people and the people that show up at his events are top notch, and I've earned now at this point I get stage time at this, and I'm really happy about that. I'm also organizing a trip to Italy, so there's a lot of the secret knockers that are going to be coming along to Italy with me in September, which is really cool. Wow. And we're going to be doing about a 9-day trip, and if they come with me, they get an award, so they get to win an international award, and that's really, really cool. And so, yeah, that's
Awesome.
That's the next thing.
Is
that's
it
coming up.
some kind of speaking event in Italy? Or
It's an
what?
event that I will organize, and
Okay.
it's an award.
Nice.
So it's the International Entrepreneurial Award, and I've got it
You're
all
taking
lined
your
up.
camera, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm taking you with the
I was
camera.
going to say, right,
yeah,
what are you talking
and-
about?
I can travel anywhere in the world except for Canada.
Yeah, and so I got us, I get us into the, like I said, get us into the Vatican. The Rotary International's waiting for
That is
us.
so
The,
awesome.
the Italian and American Foundation's waiting for us. They're going to take it through Parliament. I mean, I got my girls onto the Pope's
Right.
balcony the last time I got
see
there.
that?
Nobody goes
Who's
onto
got
the
that
Pope's
kind
balcony.
of influence?
I do.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Ryan, I think we're coming up on
Yeah, we
break
sure
here.
are.
So.
You guys, we're here with
That's
the
awesome.
fantastic Clarissa Burt, just a fantastic person, great human,
Fantastic.
and always helping out the women's community. And of course, we're excited to have her radio show launching on May 2nd on the new Influencers channel. Go check out the Frequency Facebook fan page, facebook.com/Finding a Frequency Net. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Radio Ryan1, at Jeff Spinney 2. We'll be right back with some more right after these messages on Finding Your Frequency.
And welcome back to Finding Your Frequency. I'm your host, Jeff Spinard.
And I'm your co-host, Ryan Treasure, not missing my cue
There
this
you
time.
go. That was beautiful. Came right in. And we are with the lovely, beautiful Miss Clarissa Burt.
Yes, you are.
We also have a special guest on the phone with us.
Yes, we sure do.
Mr. Christopher Conlon, our executive producer.
Woohoo!
What's happening, Chris?
To be honest with you, your dog has driven me crazy.
Okay, all right. Thanks
I know,
for
I'd
that
like to-
intel.
I'm just about to teach her how to be the mascot for the show.
Awesome.
Her voice, and she starts wow-wow-wowing.
We have to dress
My
her up
dog,
with
Gia.
we'll have to dress her up with the frequency bolt, but
Yeah, right now I want to dress her up with some, cilantro.
well, we're on live with
Enough
Clarissa
about the
Burt,
dog,
right?
right.
We're
know.
talking with
When
her
I-
about the
when I
radio
understand
show, the
it-
Influencers channel, and all of those fantastic things that we have coming up. Did you have a question for her?
Yes. I need her to do the first live television signing for Voice America Influencers.
Ooh, okay. Let's do it.
I know, but is there a cool pen?
Of course
Cool
there
pen.
is.
There's a pen that writes.
Yeah,
Is that
I can't
okay?
watch and listen and talk at the same time. I'm not that.
You know, Clarissa brought in her magazine, it's the Discover magazine,
Yes.
the best of 2016.
Which
and
means
with
in 2017, I'm not much anyway. 2016, I was pretty damn cool, but
It's because they're gearing up.
2017,
They're gearing up
that,
for 18.
we're only in March, so there's plenty of 2017 left. So with the
Show them.
magazine, she brought a
Show
beautiful pen in. So, oh yeah,
Show.
of course, yeah.
We're on
Here
top.
is the magazine.
Yes.
See that? Woo.
yeah. Thanks to
2016.
Jody Wilson.
Hey,
She's
guys.
my good friend
Yeah.
that edits that magazine and owns that
Awesome.
magazine. Yeah.
I like it.
Good old Jody.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is that a local magazine here
It is.
from Phoenix?
It's a local
Awesome.
magazine. Discover the region
Discover
and
the
discover the
Phoenix
Phoenix
region.
region.
Right.
Love it.
Right.
And there's
Because
I think there are
this
3 or 4
is
pages
my hometown,
inside.
so I'm
The
all about
Enveloper
it.
Network for Women.
That's right.
I love it.
10, the Enveloper Network. But now I'm on Voice America Network.
There we go.
So I can't do both.
And you're going to be doing a live TV show,
Yes.
and you're going to be on the
am.
Influence channel.
Yes,
so
I am.
we got a lot of big things planned for Voice America. So I'm really excited to work with you. by the
Thank
way.
you. Thanks.
Good stuff, Chris. I'm sorry. You were
Did
were
you
saying?
we're
sign
signing.
on the line that's dotted, man. I got to get this stuff into
All right,
production.
sorry.
Yeah. We're
Give
getting there.
me-
We're having
do you have-
I
some
can't watch it
conversation
all
right
at the
now.
same time.
Do you have that one?
By the way,
that
where's
one
my
there?
email you're supposed to be sending me for the last 2 weeks?
You
Chris.
mean mine?
Yeah.
That would be.
Oh, well.
He's sending it
the
right
thing
That's
now.
what
is,
the word from the
like
top
all
is.
beautiful women.
The word from the top
You
is
get
you
better
can.
with age. It's like the
Like it.
email I'm going to send you. It
Like
just
it.
keeps getting better. Wait until you see it.
Okay. Here is
Here's
the
the official-
contract. May 2nd, Tuesdays from noon to 1.
I believe that's right.
Clarissa Burt on the
Yes.
Influencers channel. Please,
That's right.
please sign here.
All right, I will. In blood or
Cool
you got a
pen.
pen? Okay.
Cool pen.
All right, guys, you're witnessing
go.
it live.
There it is, live.
Signing the first agreement for the Influencers channel right here live on Finding Your
you go.
Frequency.
That is a beautiful
Thank you very
signature.
much. Thank you
Beautiful
very,
Hey,
very
Jeff,
much.
It is signed.
Wait, no applause? Nothing? I get no applause? Oh, all right then. Okay, there you go.
Yes, yes.
Now you're talking.
And there
Aaron,
it is.
Aaron, don't we have some applause on the sound effects over there?
Yeah, I told you we got to
What
get
kind of
that
radio
thing put
station
together.
is this?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got it. We have them.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, you got to know when to hit that button.
We'll make
You
sure
gotta
we
give
have
me
that
the
queued
button.
up.
Just put it right next to me.
Yeah,
I have
That's
no
what I
problem
wanted.
pushing it.
I wanted it right here so I can play
Just
with the
push the
noises.
damn thing
right,
anytime you
exactly.
want.
Instant replay. Did you hear that? Right, you guys listening? We need an instant replay right here in the studio. So send us one.
Yeah. Golly.
So what do your days look like? What's going on?
Right now, we're just working on all the different things that are coming
Yeah.
on. I'm doing an organic chocolate line that'll be infused. Oh, it's so good. Oh, yeah, it's so good. So this chocolate's really amazing. And it's sugar-free because I have to eat sugar-free now because I'm like pre-diabetic. Yes, that happens when you too.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so it's sugar-free and all kinds of lovely stuff. And then we're making, I just came from a meeting now with the non-toxic cream line. So Clarissa's coming out with, creams that are non-toxic. And, you have no idea how sick we're making ourselves from the products that we're using, and whether they be, the cleaning products we're using at home or the things that we're putting on our bodies, men and, men and women and babies. Did you know, I probably shouldn't say this, I could probably get sued. Anyway, there's just, there are a lot of toxins in the products that we're using.
Right.
And I'm starting to make a lot of things at home. We're going to be doing a lot of that here. On the TV when we're ready to rock and roll, so I can teach people how to be healthier. Lots of really fun, easy recipes and easy things to do. You have no idea. You save a lot of money, and it's absolutely much healthier for you.
And that's awesome because we are going to have a segment on the show now dedicated to health because obviously I need to get healthy.
Right.
So maybe we'll
That'd
talk
be really
to you about
cool.
some of your recipes.
I would love to
anything
collaborate
to help.
with you.
All right, good.
For sure.
Yeah, before the show, Jeff and I were talking, and today was the day that we were going to start you on the new path.
Yeah.
Right after the show will be the day one
of.
Pretty much.
Yep.
This is a whole weight loss.
What is it?
Get healthy.
A special
this
diet
is going to be a
or
segment. I really haven't
decided.
The Purium product is I'm expecting a delivery. So once I
cool.
get that, actually starts the process.
I see.
It's the whole cleanse, but it's all natural products that will help adjust my metabolism.
Right.
Just get things working the way they're supposed to.
Right.
And then, of course, I have to work on the eating habits and all that. Working out will be part of it.
Are you doing this under your doctor's supervision?
I will be.
Okay, good. And what about?
Well, one thing at a time.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
that's good. That's good to go.
That's gotta go.
The silence there was I enjoy a smoky treat every now and then.
Yes, you do. I did smoke for 25 years. I smoked for 25 years, and by the time I was
Go cold
39,
turkey?
I went cold turkey.
I think everybody in Europe smokes.
Yeah, but I started as a really kid. I was like 12 when I started because I wanted to be old. I wanted to look
13,
cool. I
right.
wanted to be old, and now I would not like to be older. But anyway, the story is, you just go cold turkey, and it's hard, and you can do it. You can do anything, and it's when you realize that every cigarette you're not smoking is it's one step closer to health, and a healthy body, and a healthy mind. Then it kind of makes it easier. It really does.
And it'll make my bank account healthy
Absolutely.
too. Because
they're
spend a lot of money on
expensive,
cigarettes.
aren't they? What does it cost now for a pack?
It's like $70 for a carton of cigarettes.
Are you kidding me?
No, I kid you not.
$70?
And it depends on where you are. Like when we travel, when we get outside of here and you get into other places, they're
East Coast like $100 for a carton.
Yeah, they're like
Wow.
$10 or more.
I think
a
I
pack.
stopped when they were $1.25 a pack.
I was going to stop when they hit 3, but
I used to smoke Moors. Remember those long brown
Yeah, the
ones?
long brown one. I used to steal those from my friend's mother.
Yeah, I used to smoke those back in the 70s. They were
They're
really
like
cool.
Virginia,
That's
they're like
exactly right.
Virginia
Whatever.
Slims.
Virginia Slims was my mother.
Except they were,
And then
they
I
were
went
just
to
the
Merit. I
brown.
think I went to Marlboro Lights and then Merit. Yeah.
Merit's pretty good cigarette.
What my
my
fa-
mother
my
used to
father
smoke
smoked.
Tarleton,
That
which
is
is probably
not
the
even-
worst cigarette I've ever smoked.
You can't say a good cigarette. There is
No,
no
that's
good
true.
cigarette. What the heck was that? That was a good cigarette.
Okay, all right.
No,
you got
but
a
I gotta
point,
say,
but,
I loved every cigarette I ever smoked, but
There
it
you go.
didn't love me back. So You know, I was just glad to get rid of it.
point.
Well, if something doesn't love you back, you have to let it go.
Gotta let it go.
You know, we're getting close to that time of the program. One of the
by
things,
so fast.
too fast. We could do 2 hours today, I think. Yeah, definitely, Clarissa. So amazing. It's great to have you
Yeah,
on.
just very excited to have Clarissa as part of the.
Thanks,
she's part of the
guys.
family now,
Yeah, I
so
am.
we got a lot to do.
Yeah, we do.
Clarissa, your website is clarissaburt.com.
Yes, it is.
That's where people can go find out what Clarissa is up to, follow her on social media as well, and look at some of the speaking engagements she's doing worldwide. And of course, we're going to be bringing another fantastic show to the airwaves next week on Finding Your Frequency. And I'm not dropping any names or anything, but it'll be cool.
Okay.
If you don't come and listen to the show, I'm going to send our Jeff's hitman after you.
I don't even know.
Who is it? Who is it? Who?
I can't say.
Who is it?
I can't
I don't
say.
even know
Just
yet.
whisper in my ear. Tell me.
It's a person
Come
with
on.
influence.
Oh, darn it.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. This was a fantastic show with Miss Clarissa Burt.
Yeah, fun.
Ryan, why don't you take us out?
You guys check us out on social media at Voice America, Live Internet Talk Radio on Facebook, and of course, Facebook.com/Finding a Frequency Net. You can go check out the website, findingafrequency.com, JeffSpinard.com, and then, of course, we're all up on Twitter at Radio Ryan 1, at Jeff Spinney 2. And, of course, next week we'll be right here at the same place, Voice America Variety, 2 p.m. Pacific, right here on Voice America, Finding a Frequency.
See you next
Stay
week.
tuned.